Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the video a lot of you have been waiting for. You wanted to see regular nail tips turned into dual forms. And I actually did it last night. I used a McCart clear coffin tip and I used it as a dual form and made a perfect coffin shaped nail. And I do have some new nail tips that I used. These are the long kind of coffin, they're called coffin shape, oval, like kind of oval coffin shape tips. And they are by jewelry brand. You get 600 piece coffins. There's 10 sizes. It's long and natural color. I will leave a link where you can get these tips. But I'm going to show you guys on these tips, but what happened was it kind of gives like a, it's not going to look like this on your regular nail. Just keep that in mind. These are real, like, full nails, and that's why it looks so curved, okay? And I just did a tip. I didn't do it over the whole nail. And what I did was I actually turned it around. So here would be your tip. I turned it around and stuck it into the FLEXIFINGER, like so. And then I just went to about right here with the coffin tip, with the McCart coffin tip. I'll show you that in just a second. Now these are number 3s, and I think I used a number 0 coffin because you have to go from sidewall to sidewall. It has to be big, just like a dual form, you know, and you have to have enough room for the product. So this actually worked perfect because it goes from sidewall to sidewall. And there's plenty of room for product, okay? So that's why I used the 0. Now you're not going to do anything special to this nail or any of the nails that you're going to be using as a dual form. You don't want to buff it or anything. You do want to buff the surface of your own nail or the tip that you're applying this on. Again, these are full tips. They're full nails. They're the ones that I'm actually wearing, but made them nail tips, okay? I don't want to confuse you guys. If you want to watch this video, I have 3 of them up. I was thinking of trying it with this one because these are a little shorter. As you can see, they're a little shorter. Actually, a lot shorter. And I probably wouldn't need this big of a size. Yeah, no, not at all. Actually, I think I'm going to turn this around. And then as you can see, it goes all the way in. Like, you just have a tiny, it's like a natural nail, okay? I think that might be a little better than using these. But I did get these for a review, so I wanted to see if it would work with the longer one, just to, you know, play around with different tips. As this one is not clear, and I wanted to see if it would cure. So, it did. And as you can see, it's on the nail. Now there is a little bit of lifting up here, but all you would have to do is file that and then go ahead and fill. You know, do a fill in or put like a hard gel on top. The thickness is actually perfect. You still get that nice underside here. I know a lot of you wanted me to show you on my own nails, but I've already got my nails done, so I can't exactly do that. Sorry about that. Do keep in mind also, you do want to use a clear nail when you're doing the dual forms. It doesn't have to be clear here, but it needs to be clear, you know, when the dual form needs to be clear, okay? This is not a dual form, don't get me wrong, it's just a nail tip. I don't want someone to say that's not a dual form. I know it's not a dual form. 3, we'll go over this. Okay, no, and you don't want to press down because it's not going to work. Alright, here's the number 1. It's actually really big, but actually, it might work better. I don't know. We'll try the 1 and the 2. See what happens. Or short claw nails from AZURE'S. If I can find the link for these, I'll put it down below, but it's been years. They sent me these a long time ago. Now I like to just pull it out and buff it because these are really tiny. So you're just going to buff that shine off of there. You want a good rough surface. for that polygel to stick to. Now you're going to clean it off with some isopropyl alcohol. Now if this was your natural nail, you could use the solution that I actually made. It's 3 parts isopropyl alcohol, 1 part acetone. Now that you've got it cleaned off, pop that back in there. I'm going to go ahead now and lay down a base foundation. Now just say this was a natural nail and we're forming a tip. Just a tip. That way you don't have to use forms. I have a hard time with forms. I'm going to go ahead and pop this in my lamp for 30 seconds. These are 30 grams. They all come with a sealer. Alright, it's going to take some muscle to push this up. As always. That's a pretty color. It's a very nice nude color. That's the one we'll be using. Okay, so what you're going to do is take your spatula and we are going to build up the front of the nail, the front of that tip. And get some polygel. I'm going to get my alcohol ready. And I got to clean my brush too. Alright, so you're going to put it in the tip part, or where the free edge is, because you're building the nail tip. I'm going to start about right here, and I'm just going to pull that down. Just like that. Okay? Now I'm going to take the brush, I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush. Just get it real clean, get all that factory glue off. Push the bristles down, get all the bubbles out. Okay, you're going to wipe your brush off. You do not need a lot of alcohol when you're working with this type of polygel because there's a lot of added acrylic, and what will happen if you use too much, you're going to get white spots, and you don't want that. Alright, so use very little isopropyl alcohol. And as you can see, I'm just patting it down into place. Get a little bit more on my brush. As you can see, it's hardly wet at all. I'm just patting it, making sure that's how I want it. It's a little thin on the side walls, but this is just an experiment that I wanted to show you guys that I tried a while back, and it actually worked. I did it on my own nail. It works better on your own nails, guys. So, alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay that right about, actually I probably need to go a little further down because this nail, we're just doing the very tip, okay? You're going to place that on there like so. You're going to look up underneath. Go ahead and clean that. Go ahead and get that nice and flat. If we need to do any filing or anything, you know, you can always do that after. I'm going to go ahead and put it in my lamp just like it is for 30 seconds. Flip it and do 30 more. I'm going to go ahead and buff this surface off this tip here. I noticed when I was using these, they were a little too long. So at the very tip, I'm just going to trim them up a bit. Just about like that, because we're going to be putting these in the FLEXIFINGER backwards. That is cured. Now I'm going to take my magic wand, and this is how I got it off last night. I took my magic wand and I just the nail came off. Alright, I'm taking the nail out. And boom, there you go. It actually did not cure at the very tip there, so I'm going to go pop it in the lamp for 30 seconds. We're going to demonstrate that one more time, guys, on a tip like this. Just remember, I shortened it a bit, just because it gives a really sharp curve, but it will not do that on your actual nail. Or it shouldn't. It shouldn't. As long as you're just doing a tip. And that's what I would suggest, just doing a tip when you're using it, when you're using like regular nail tips for dual forms. But this is a perfect way to get that shape that you want. You can even use a clear stiletto to do this. You don't have to use coffin shape. I just thought I'd show you the coffin shape because I like the coffin shape and it seems to work really well. This is the 0. This is the one we'll be using for this nail here. As you can see, it goes from sidewall to sidewall, and there's plenty of extra room in there if for product. Okay, so I went ahead and fully cured this nail. Now you will have to build it up a bit, and you can just go over it with hard gel or another layer of poly gel. Alright, so I'm gonna just clean it off. Alright. And I'm going to buff this surface where it didn't want to clear and it came up a little. It didn't want to cure. It came up a bit up here at the top, but that's fine. No biggie. Alright, alcohol. I'm going to go ahead and clean it off. Now this one actually turned out better than the one did last night. So now what you would do is you would take the poly gel and go ahead and fill in your cuticle area inside walls, and then you can build up the apex a little better. But actually, in all reality, look how nice that is. It does need to be built up a bit. It's a perfect coffin shape. You will need to do a little product control up here because it's really thin, so if you want that a little thicker, just add more poly gel. Okay, now this is the one I did last night. Look how nice that is. I didn't have any product at all come up under this one. This one worked absolutely perfect. It needs filing on the side a bit, and it's thick enough too. It's perfect. Alright, so I've got my other nail. I'm gonna pop that in there like so. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lay down a base. Go ahead and pop that into the lamp for 30 seconds. Go ahead and squeeze out this beautiful dark pink. It's a really pretty color. Another video, I'll do a complete review on the Azure Poly Gel. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead again and put this into the nail tip. Start about yay high, pull it down, okay. Go ahead and get your isopropyl alcohol. You don't need a whole lot, remember that. Go ahead and turn it around like you would a dual form. You're gonna go ahead and pull and press, or pull and pat. Whichever way you look at it. I'm going to pull this one up a little bit higher, and we want it a little thicker. When it starts sticking, that's when you want more alcohol. Bring it down, there's a little hole right there. Try to pat that out. Okay, so that's ready. I'm just going to lay it down Go ahead and position it where you want it. I'm going to put it about right there. You're going to hold that. Go ahead and press it down. Hold it. Flip it. Okay, as you can see, it's not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and pop the lamp, 30 on one side, 30 on the other. My magic wand. Last night when I did this, it just popped right off. It is going to take a few more seconds to pop this off than it would a normal dual form. As you can see, there we go. Popped right off. You can probably actually get away with using this again. It looks fine. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, and there is your nail tip. I'm going to go ahead and clean it off. What I would do is I would go ahead and file this down because it's just like a regular nail tip. You're still going to have that little ledge here. So you would file that off and then fill it in. Okay? So this is just like building a regular nail tip. Like I've said, I don't know how many times. But I would go ahead now and file the nail. Just like so. Really, you can take this, you can take the 180 grit side and go over the edge of that where the nail tip meets the natural nail, and you're going to buff the surface of that so that it's nice and flush with your nail. Okay, and then what you would also do is go ahead and buff the surface shine off of this nail if you're going to add more product. So you would just buff the shine. Clean off the nail. And then add more polygel. Let me just show you, for instance, for time. I'm going to just lay that down, get my brush damp, and you will go ahead and fill the nail in. Okay, and cure it. But that is an experiment that I wanted to show you guys for a very long time, and I'm just getting around to doing it. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this tip making with regular nails, not dual forms. That way you can have your own, you know, you can make your own stiletto or coffin or oval or whatever. You don't have to stick with a square, or, you know, and you don't have to file it. It's already made for you. Okay, so here's our nail. I'm not going to buff, shape, and do all that good stuff right now, but as you can see, it does need a little buff in here in the center. But look how nice. Okay, so that's it, guys. That is my how-to little experiment, how to make a form with a regular nail, regular full nail tip. I have found that the full nail tips work way better. So anyway, I've enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think about it. Have you tried it? Did it work? Maybe on my next set we can give it a go on my own nails. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.